Amid the vast plains of Mongolia, where the winds blow unhindered and the horizon seems endless, a group of nomadic tribes lived by raising livestock, hunting, and the freedom to move without constraints. The nomadic life was harsh, marked by biting cold and the constant search for pastures to feed their herds. This was the life of the Mongols, who, without founding cities or erecting walls, were seen by their neighbors as savages wandering aimlessly, without territorial ambition. But all of this would change with the birth of a man who would turn these tribes into one of the greatest empires the world has ever known, Genghis Khan. The rise of Temüjin, unification and conquest. Temüjin was born into a small Mongol tribe, and his life was marked by hardships from an early age. His father was poisoned by tribal enemies when he was still a child, and his family was abandoned by the clan. Without a leader and resources, Temüjin grew up learning to fight for survival. He hunted to feed his mother and siblings and faced challenges that shaped him into a determined and relentless leader. Gradually, Temüjin began to gather allies, either through diplomacy or force. He knew that the key to transforming his people into a true power was not to remain divided. Thus, he secured the support of various tribal leaders by offering alliances, marriages, and a promise of power and stability. The Mongol tribes, which had previously fought each other over scarce resources, were unified under Temüjin's banner. He assumed the title of Genghis Khan, the universal leader, and was determined to lead his people to a new level of glory. The Mongol war machine. With the unification of the tribes, Genghis Khan formed an incredible war machine. The Mongols were born warriors, skilled horsemen who could gallop long distances and shoot arrows with deadly precision, even while in motion. The Mongol army was organized into disciplined units, with meritocratic leadership, a novelty for the time, where battlefield valor was more important than blood ties. Instead of simply invading and plundering, Genghis Khan employed sophisticated psychological warfare tactics. Many of his enemies preferred to surrender before even facing him, fearing the brutality of his armies and what might happen to those who resisted. Mongol strategies included long sieges, the use of prisoners as human shields, and the complete destruction of cities that resisted. The conquest of China and Persia. With his army organized and his men ready for battle, Genghis Khan set his sights southward and westward. The rich lands of China were a coveted target, with their fortified cities and vast wealth. The Jin dynasty in northern China underestimated the Mongols, believing them to be nothing more than barbarians without the technology or organization to challenge such a powerful kingdom. They were wrong. Genghis Khan used his cunning to learn Chinese siege techniques, hiring captured engineers and adapting the weapons to his own style of warfare. The cities fell one by one, and the Mongols proved masters of adaptation. They not only destroyed but absorbed the best from the cultures they conquered, strengthening their empire. After subduing northern China, the Mongols turned to Persia. Emissaries sent by Genghis Khan to negotiate a trade alliance were killed by the Persian ruler, an unforgivable affront. Genghis Khan marched against the Khwarezm Empire, and the consequences were devastating. Entire cities were burned, populations decimated, and resistance was crushed without mercy. Campaigns in Central Asia and Eastern Europe. After the conquest of Persia, Genghis Khan turned his attention to Central Asia. He knew that controlling this strategic region was key to securing the trade routes connecting East and West. The tribes of Central Asia offered fierce resistance but were quickly subdued by the Mongols' might. The conquered peoples were incorporated into Genghis Khan's army, further increasing his military power. In 1236, under the leadership of Batu Khan, Genghis Khan's grandson, the Mongols launched a military campaign that took their armies to Eastern Europe. Batu Khan led the Golden Horde against the Russian principalities, advancing with relentless force. Cities like Kiev were devastated, and the campaign continued toward Hungary and Poland. European armies were unable to stop the Mongol advance, which seemed unstoppable. The Mongols' war techniques, combined with their ability to adapt to different terrains and weather conditions, ensured successive victories. The impact and the Pax Mongolica, with territories stretching from China to Eastern Europe, Genghis Khan's empire was the largest in history in terms of continuous landmass. Despite the violence of the conquests, the Mongols brought about a period of stability known as the Pax Mongolica. Trade routes, including the famous Silk Road, became safer under the watch of Mongol warriors. Merchants could travel from one end of the empire to the other, and cultural and economic exchanges flourished. The Pax Mongolica was responsible for the spread of technologies, ideas, and cultures between East and West. The Mongols did not impose their religious beliefs on the conquered peoples. On the contrary, they were known for their tolerance. Religions such as Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism coexisted under Mongol rule, facilitating cultural exchange and integration. The security of the trade routes also allowed Chinese inventions such as gunpowder and the compass to reach the West, directly influencing European development. The death of Genghis Khan and the fragmentation of the empire. In 1227, Genghis Khan passed away, and his vast empire was divided among his sons and grandsons. Ögödei, Genghis Khan's third son, was chosen as the new Great Khan and continued the Mongol expansion. Under Ögödei, the Mongols completed the conquest of China and advanced further into Europe, reaching the borders of the Holy Roman Empire. However, Ögödei's death in 1241 brought new challenges. Without a clear leader, the empire became a stage for internal power struggles. Mongol nobles divided, and Genghis Khan's sons began fighting among themselves. Kublai Khan, Genghis Khan's grandson, managed to take control of China and founded the Yuan dynasty, but the empire was no longer a cohesive unit. The reign of Kublai Khan and the decline Kublai Khan was different from his ancestors. He settled in China, adopted many Chinese customs, and ruled as a true emperor, earning criticism from more traditional Mongols, who saw this as abandoning their nomadic values. Kublai attempted to further expand the empire, setting his sights on Japan. On 2 occasions, he sent large fleets to conquer the Japanese islands, but both attempts failed due to typhoons that destroyed his ships, the divine winds, or kamikaze, as the Japanese called them. These failures tarnished Kublai's prestige and weakened the empire, already strained by internal revolts and problematic administrations. Communications between different parts of the empire became more difficult, and the lack of strong leadership led to its final fragmentation. The 4 main Khanates, the Chagatai Khanate, the Golden Horde, the Ilkhanate, and the Yuan dynasty, began to operate as independent entities, and the dream of a united empire started to fade. The fall and legacy of the Mongol Empire. In 1368, the Yuan dynasty was overthrown by the Chinese, who established the Ming dynasty, marking the official end of Mongol rule in China. The other Khanates were also gradually absorbed by other powers or fell into internal disorder. The era of the Great Mongol Empire had come to an end. However, the legacy of Genghis Khan and his descendants is undeniable. They changed the course of world history, connecting cultures and economies in a way never before seen. The trade routes established by the Mongols paved the way for a more interconnected world, where ideas, technologies, and products could be exchanged between continents. The Mongols also left a legacy of religious and cultural tolerance, which, despite the violence of their conquests, sowed seeds of understanding between different peoples. The empire that once darkened the sky with its arrows and made the world tremble under the hooves of its horses still echoes in humanity's collective memory as an example of power, adaptability, and global impact. The importance of trade and cultural integration. The Mongol Empire did not just conquer lands, it also established a network of communication and trade that connected much of the known world. During the Pax Mongolica, merchants, travelers, and envoys like Marco Polo had the opportunity to explore and document distant lands. Marco Polo's descriptions of Kublai Khan's court opened Europe's eyes to the wonders of the East, stimulating European desire for Asian products and knowledge. This exchange of information and goods was crucial to the European Renaissance. Beyond trade, the cultural integration promoted by the Mongols had a lasting impact on arts, science, and technology. Persian mathematicians and astronomers, Chinese engineers, and artisans from different parts of the empire collaborated on projects that enriched the knowledge of the time. This intercultural exchange helped spread advances in areas such as medicine, engineering, and navigation. Final reflection. The story of the Mongol Empire is a testament to the strength of unity and the weakness of division. While the Mongol tribes remained united under a visionary leader, they were unstoppable, conquering everything in their path. But when the empire fragmented into personal interests and internal disputes, the glory quickly faded. The legacy of Genghis Khan continues to inspire and provoke reflection. His ability to unite a fragmented people and his vision of a global empire are lessons that still resonate today. The Mongol Empire was not just an exercise in territorial conquest, but an experiment that shaped the modern world, connecting cultures and laying the foundations for the global exchange we know today.